This demonstration is going to be for a flower. There are 3 parts to making the flower. I have used a different colour in the centre of this one, and then used different colours, as you can see, for each part of the flower. I am going to be using one colour just for demonstration purposes, and you can sew this to any project that you like. Bags, scarves, hats. Make a brooch, you could put a pin on the back there. The flower will lay flat like that to expose the centre, depending on the look that you want, or you can scrunch it up to make it more like a chrysanthemum. It's entirely up to you. 4.5mm hook. You're supposed to use a 4mm, but I can't find mine at the moment, so 4.5 will do, as gauge isn't important in this project. For this demonstration, I am going to be using Carnival 8-ply. To start off, we want to make our slip knot. There are many different ways of doing this, but an easy way is to put the yarn over like that. Fold your loop down over the top of that one. Grab this middle piece and pull up. To start off, we want to chain 5. And join to the first chain with a slip stitch to form a ring. So going into the first chain, pulling up a loop, and then pulling it through the one on the right. This has joined it to make a circle. Then we want to chain 1, and we want to put 15 single crochets into the centre of the ring. So going into the centre of the ring and working 15 single crochets. We have 15 single crochets, and we are going to slip stitch into the first stitch to join it. So we should have something that looks like a donut. We want to chain 10, five, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and into the next stitch we're going to do a slip stitch. Going into the next stitch, pulling up a loop, and then pulling through, so it'll look like our first petal, and chaining 10 again, finding our next stitch and doing a slip stitch to secure it. You now have 2 petals for a funny looking bunny rabbit, and chain 10 again, finding our next stitch, just doing a slip stitch into that as well, and we're just going to repeat this all the way around, chaining 10 and slip stitching into the next stitch until we get back to the beginning. This is what mine looks like so far. So I'm just on my last chain 10, and I'm just going to slip stitch down into the next stitch. If you don't have a stitch left over, just just slip stitch it down into the center there, just like you have with the rest. It's not going to matter because you won't notice it. Sorry. So just slip stitch there. So that joins our last petal down into there. And then cut your yarn and secure. So just pulling out the loop. And then just sew in your ends. If I can, I always sew into the back of things, because then you can't, if you are going to see it, you won't see it because it'll be on the back or something. So just sew it in there through a few stitches and snip it off. And you just weave it in and out of the stitches, preferably the solid one, so you wouldn't do it through chains if you don't have to. You would pick these single crochets here, so you would just go into the back of the stitches and just sort of wiggle, get them through there. Generally sew in about an inch or so, more if you want. That way you know that it's not going to come out in a hurry and fall apart. And just sort of, sometimes it might pull it out of shape a little bit, so just wiggle it back. So there we have our first part to our flower. Now you can make this centre bit a different colour if you like on the first round, entirely up to you. I'm just doing it all one colour at the moment.